we would like to get your views on where you think the CBD economy might go if it was indeed enabled.
Yeah.
We tried to enable it in 2006 and we thought we had it nailed down, but obviously, something got in the way.
Yeah. What we understand about the CBD industry at the moment is it's been taken out of the Misuse of Drugs Act. That's a good thing. CBD is now a medicine. It's under the Medicines Act, but it does require a prescription. The NZMCC believes that CBD ought not to require a prescription, and so we are going to attempt to have the category reclassified under the Medicines Act, and that means that CBD would, instead of needing a doctor's prescription, be available at a pharmacy, and you would go and see your pharmacist. So it's called a pharmacy-only medicine, so it wouldn't be available in a supermarket or elsewhere. It would simply be available in the pharmacy. You would go and see your pharmacist, and he would assist in prescribing or providing the right CBD product. Now, that's quite a big job, and it has been done in New Zealand, reclassification, but it does take quite a lot of investment and work. But that's one of the big projects that the NZMCC has on its mind for this year and next year.
What motivated you to, as a body, to do that particular job?
I think the entire industry sees CBD as a pretty critical part of the medicinal cannabis equation, and all of my members will be looking at the opportunities that exist in the CBD market, not just in New Zealand, but probably more importantly overseas, in those markets where CBD is more readily available. So it doesn't require a prescription everywhere around the world.
Could you please give an example of somewhere where it doesn't require a prescription?
UK, where you can buy CBD almost anywhere. Some states in the United States and parts of Europe. It's by no means the comprehensive list, but those are examples. And for CBD to be able to be exported, it needs to be legal in New Zealand to be able to export it. So at the moment, it's not an approved medicine. It couldn't possibly be exported. We don't have a CBD market here yet. So there's quite a long way to go yet before we can legally export CBD in a medicinal cannabis sense.
Are you willing to place a figure on how much we might be losing at the moment by not taking advantage of the export market?
No, I couldn't estimate it yet, but we know it's a huge and very, very quickly growing market, and depending on the stats and the statistics that are used, it dwarfs anything that could be made in the New Zealand market. By that I mean it dwarfs the New Zealand domestic market for medicinal cannabis. So the exporters who are considering CBD are not considering it for New Zealand alone. They're considering it in light of the international markets that already have much broader access than New Zealanders do to CBD. And in some ways, CBD will help to cross-subsidise the costs, the capital costs and the compliance costs of the medicinal cannabis manufacture in New Zealand, those items that require a mix of THC and CBD. Yeah, that would be under a prescription medicine and a specialist requirement as well at this stage. We'd like to think it won't be in the future, but it is at the moment.
But at the moment, that's how it's looking?
At the moment, CBD does require a GP's prescription, but anything more, a THC CBD mix will require a specialist referral and prescription. So it's a layer above a GP again.
Yep. I see there's some talk about that.
See if that can be changed.
I see that a lot of feedback's coming back and people don't actually want that extra level.
No, they don't. At least what we have heard from users is that specialist will restrict access, requiring a specialist prescription will restrict access for New Zealanders, and we think that's probably with the right prescriber education for GPs, it shouldn't be necessary.
Yeah. It seems unfair that, somebody else has to stand in line and they get paid for something that is not necessary at all.
It seems to us that with the right prescriber education, GPs would be very capable of. I mean, there may be occasions, there are times when they might want to refer to a specialist, but for many things that medicinal cannabis could be valuable to their patients for, it's not necessary. Well, we don't believe it would be necessary to have a specialist sign that prescription off.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not everything, but it's quite a lot.
Yeah. I mean, to have it just automatically default that way is not a good idea.
We don't believe it is.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you'd want a referral if it was appropriate.
Yeah.
Right. But how far are you guys down that track?
Well, it's quite an involved process getting a medicine reclassified. Let's take an example. For instance, we have reclassified contraceptives in New Zealand so that they can be dispensed at a pharmacy, not require a GP's prescription. And we're looking for something similar here as a first step for CBD. But in order to do that, we have to have the medicine reclassified, and there is a requirement under the Medicines Act about how that is done. There is a specialist panel or group who meet to determine whether it is appropriate based on the evidence they receive. They meet twice a year. So we are preparing the documentation to put forward an application, which we would need to have with the ministry by December, very early January next year. There's no guarantee that it would go through immediately. Often it doesn't. Sometimes it does, but often it doesn't. So it's not a guarantee that we will have it reclassified, but we'd like to think that the committee will take a good look at it on the evidence available and consider it carefully.
What are your chances, do you think?
Can't say yet, Marco. The industry genuinely believe it should not be a prescription medicine, and they are optimistic. But we have to convince a classifications board that it is okay, and the evidence they're looking for, we really don't know. It's not clear cut yet. We have consultants to support us to do this the right way, to give us the best possible chance. Mm-hmm. And as I said, sometimes it takes more than one application before it goes through. So I don't really have a sense of what our likelihood is in the first instance, but our hopes are high.
Yeah.